My team lost. We got pulled into the pond.
Wait, is this the 4th of July celebration?
Huh?
This is the 4th of July.
Yeah. And this year it's a Friday, so. But, yeah, it's 7, let's start with the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So she can't find the speaker or that?
She can't find the recorder.
It's not on her desk.
It's not on her desk, so she's trying to call Lori.
Is that yours microphone, Jed?
I can always take it off.
No.
I mean, it'll be recorded on the video. I don't know.
Yeah, it needs to be available.
We can't find the recorder, or it didn't leave it in the usual spot.
Okay, so we start with the hearing of visitors, 5 minutes each. And? Just visiting.
Sure.
No, that's fine. So, reading and approval of the minutes from last meeting of January 13th.
Make a motion to accept the minute.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I cannot, was not here.
I'm gonna have to go back.
So it was Lisa,
That works.
Marla, myself.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this in before we start on the amendment to the signed bylaw. We had at least 2 members of the board, Jim and Marta, or Jim and Lisa, that researched all this. So, and this issue has been being kicked around the town for 6 to 8 months, right? So I'm not gonna kick a dead horse around tonight. We'll hear what they have to say, a little bit of discussion, and then we're gonna vote on it. Because first of all, this board, just so everybody knows, we're only advisory. Our recommendation goes to the select board, and that's it. So we don't have to get into I mean, these people did a lot of work, and I wanna hear what they have to say, and then, cause I just got out of work 10 minutes ago, and there's no complaining, but I don't like 2-hour meetings. You know, you discuss stuff and then you vote on it, and it's like chips fall where they are. So here we go.
I just looked over our work, which took many meetings, again, and there was one confusion that Lori was expressing at the last meeting about the very first 17.16.1.a. She was like, no outdoor signs. I felt like maybe the wording, and honestly, I think we tried really hard to make this easy and clear. So maybe instead of that exact wording, instead of saying no outdoor sign shall be permitted, which already sounds like you're working from the negative, I thought perhaps we should shift it slightly to say outdoor signs for an existing on-premise use shall be permitted only on the property. So in other words, you know, what we're trying to clarify is you can't put signs up all over town for things that are happening at your house. They're meant to be on your property. So I don't know if that seems clearer to people, and maybe just take a look.
That's actually, in a sense, we discussed this quite a few times.
I know we did.
And I think that is what the language is the way it was written in the bylaws that we stole it from, or we
Right,
assumed it from.
right, and to
Right,
me,
so-
you know, to us it's clear because we chewed over it a million times.
Right.
But I was just struck by Lori's
But the language, yeah, it should be more clarified. I think it's,
okay.
what she said, it really clarified it, so we can make that change. Let me,
But that would be a bylaw, right?
that's
This
part of the bylaw,
Part of the
right?
bylaw.
Okay.
So this is a 2-page amendment to the current bylaw. However, we have to keep in mind that this is not just a signed bylaw. what we're gonna be doing in a sense tonight is approving or denying a change in the current bylaws. So the whole bylaws would have to be rewritten and recertified.
And I know just one change, we just send that to the select.
So there's a lot more, because we have to go into the current bylaws and remove and deduct anything that refers to signs under our current laws, basically.
Yeah, there's
In
probably
each one of the districts, there's a, I think it's 4A or 4-1 or something, I don't remember what it is, but there's one in each residential, rural, and forest. It says the same thing in a nutshell, and then there's one paragraph that kind of says it all.
Yeah.
So all of that needs to be removed. So keep that in mind as we go forward. I mentioned this already to, Lori. And Lori was explaining the process to it, because it's not just approving an addendum, it's a change in the bylaws.
Right.
So it still has to go through the approval
It's
process and
considered
stuff.
We make a recommendation to the select board, they can either open it up for
Exactly.
a town vote, or they
Exactly.
can just vote themselves and approve it or throw it out.
Right, so the process
The
tonight,
whole bylaw being new.
the process tonight is we hash out a few things, we make a few changes that everybody wants to make, which is gonna be sign sizes and stuff, because we kind of knew that some people might have an issue with some sign sizes, and there needs to be some understandings with the sizes of signs, because when they say face, it's not just the face, you gotta understand something like BYLAW. So now we have a current bylaw, 12. That's a commercial building, that came to the select board, or this board, did a site
Yeah.
for them. So they're in the permits over there, whatever was arranged at that time, it's got nothing to do with the bylaws. It's got everything to do with what the planning commission and the parameters they put on that commercial business. So, but our current bylaws are 12 square feet.
Right.
So, but when you look at 12 square feet, and you got a sign out front, and it's supposed to be faced to where the public can see them from both sides, you want one on each side, correct?
Yeah.
So now your sign can only be 6 square feet and 6 square feet.
No.
No.
It's both face.
So it's face value.
No, both
Or face.
both sides count as one case.
Correct, one sign. One sign. But he's right though, it's a total.
It's a
So
total.
if it's 32 square feet, you gotta divide it by 2.
That's why under the state law for municipality, we're exempt, number one. But the one thing they say is you can't have a sign larger than 64 square feet. So now, 64 square feet, oh my God, that's a huge sign. Not really, because you gotta have it in a position to where it shows both sides, and it can only be 32 square feet on each side. I mean, these are things that I want people to understand it, and if you have any questions, ask, because we've done a bunch of research on it. And it depends, we can, like Lisa and I can read a paragraph of this one law and come up with a different answer. So she disagrees with me on something, and I disagree with her on something. That's fine, we're just having a discussion and we're coming up with a plan for everything. But, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read through here
Yeah.
and make any suggestions.
So, I just want to make sure we all understand this clearly. So, the town is already exempt. So we're not dealing with the town sign. We're just dealing with the new bylaw.
No, that's not true though. We are dealing with the town because it's not fully exempt, because we have the 12 square foot rule in our bylaw, which then applied to the town. So what we needed to do with our new sign bylaw is then explicitly exempt the town to what the state regulation is, which right now, we put 64 square feet in here,
Yeah.
which we can change, but we just
Yeah.
defaulted to what the state
I
says.
just want to make sure you guys got this straight, because I don't like confusion on state laws and stuff. I've always considered, you got a small business, you put out a sign, or a farm stand sign, you're allowed 12 square feet, 3 by 4. And I consider that if the same thing is on this side as that side, 3 by 4, that's 12 square feet. not 24.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I correct on that?
That's under the current, you could read into the current bylaws wherever you want to.
Yeah.
This is where Lisa and I don't agree. Title 10, in my opinion, having a little bit of law,
Yeah,
the way laws are written under the government, under us, under Title 10, we are exempt, period. But it also reads that unless there is a current bylaw, the town can make a different bylaw. If it's, they accept that.
yeah.
So if they come back and say the maximum sign is 12 square feet, no matter where you are in the town, then that's a discussion that's open. Because
Okay,
under the state law,
yeah.
the town is exempt. There's a list of things that are exempt. 503Cs, churches, tax exempt stuff, you know what I mean?
Sawmills.
No.
In your dreams.
No. But, the way I read it too is like, say you do have a business up on the mountain, and you wanna put a sign down here, you gotta get a permit. Technically,
You mean like McKay for the church?
if the way we read this is like, that's a farm stand, okay? And agriculture's under a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But our current bylaws says they can't, it's gotta be on the premise. You don't need a permit if you're on premise,
Being your
right?
own
So,
property. On premise being your own property.
right, that's just like Dan. So Dan wanted to put in a farm stand, and he didn't want a permit, didn't need a permit. But yes, he did, because it wasn't technically where he wanted the farm stand, wasn't where the farm was. Technically, there's a roadway that separates them, you know?
I researched all that.
Right.
I'm fine, and if I ever do, but I probably won't.
No, I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's certain little,
I guess what I'm
Caveats
hearing
to
on this
each one of these
is the board has to decide if we want to keep the 3x4 for townspeople, the town's exempt, right? But for, you got a small business, you wanna put a sign out. We can have the bylaw, if you wanna keep it to a 3x4. Does that include both sides? We can put that in our bylaw.
It should be per face.
Huh?
I think it per face.
Per
So
face.
It's 12 square feet, but we changed it to 16 in here, but that was just us writing it. The
Yeah.
board changed it. I read that as per face. We can include that language per face.
Yeah. And I know there's another bylaw regarding lights for your signs.
We have that
I
here.
have that.
So I think this is pretty cut and dry.
So the lights under the way we have it is that you can have ground mounted lights or sign mounted lights facing the sign only. And they can't be blinking, they can't be flashing,
Yeah.
oscillation or nothing like
That's a good
that.
idea.
What about that blinking 30-mile-an-hour light that I see on my goddamn window every single
That's
freaking night?
That's the
That's-
state.
Is that, I thought that was the town's.
That's under Title 10.
Yeah.
That's the
freaking-
state.
That thing might.
Well,
fall
keep
down.
that in mind when you want the speed limit sign out there too.
Pete,
No,
Pete,
No, I'm
They
just
won't
saying.
put it there.
Pete.
Why would they put it there? You know,
that's stupid.
Why would they put it there?
Well, what happens in the evening
No,
and at
we
night
put it down.
or weekends, we don't
Oh,
know.
yes.
What, you talking about the one for the school, Pete?
Yeah.
When it blinks, well, that's on a timer, and it should be, it's all out of whack, it should only be
It always,
blinking
I mean,
when
there was a
when the
point
school
where
is getting in or out.
yeah, when I talked to the guy who used to work in the white truck or whatever, I had communication with him back and forth a bunch of times, and it goes off wrong, and daylight savings time screws it all
Yeah, the
up.
school used to
And
take
it comes
care
and
of
goes, and it takes care of it, and then it goes away, and then it turns back on. And at 4 o'clock at night,
it. Yeah,
that thing's ringing. And it's just like, it used to light up the house that was next door, but the house is gone. It used to be turned off. It would be like,
Wow,
Should we?
it's like,
wow.
But on
Some could
if you
work that
wanna-
out with the state that they do.
if you wanna,
The
the school's been in control of that, it's just we've changed
yeah.
leadership so many times, they probably don't know.
So they just need to be aware then.
Yeah, because Rich and Debbie used to go handle that
But I
all
mean,
the
it's the
time.
select board that works with the state because the state controls the highway.
No, Dave just said the schools controls the sign.
They control the sign.
In terms of when it comes on.
Well, that's what this is about.
I'm talking about where it is. It can be.
So Pete,
I don't
you
think
wanna
that's
take
an
care of
issue, I think it's the
Yeah.
linking
Coordinate-
at night.
coordinate.
Yeah, I have before and I will again, but I'm actually working.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be on at night when it's dark. So that you shouldn't.
I don't think it is, is it?
Oh, it comes on every,
time.
it's
It's
during,
crazy.
during daylight savings time and stuff, that it really messes up the,
But it should be on.
Sunday mornings.
yeah, it's, I mean, again, the first probably 3 years that I was here, 2 years I was here, when that gentleman was the janitor or whatever he
Rich.
did here, yeah.
Rich.
I had a bunch of communication with him and, you know, hey, can you fix the sign, hey, you know, back on again, and then finally I was just like,
I think it's too close to the school, to be honest with you. It should be
hey,
farther
I wish it was down by the
south.
bridge,
Should be down by the
I'd be
bridge.
happy.
So with this sign stuff, if you want, we can read,
We can go through this line by line if everyone is up for it, just
We'll
to
be
make
2
sure everyone
pages,
is.
line by line.
It would be quick. Some of them are just.
well, just read
no-brainer.
the, not line by line, but just read the
Yeah, go ahead, take
changes.
your time.
Just go through it.
Let's go.
All right, no outdoor sign permitted, except for existing, on-premise use. Clear? We already just talked about that one.
Yeah.
You know,
No sign allowed within the right of way. That's obvious. We had changed it to 16 square feet. I do have a problem with 7.16.1C, because if we say that, we're back in the same problem we were when we said nothing over 12 square feet, because that's annulling what we say down here about the municipality. So I feel like that one sentence still needs working. So I think we need to say something like signs other than municipal identifying non-residential. I think we need to include except municipal in there, or else we're cutting off our nose to spite our face here. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you wanna insert signs other than municipal identifying
Because
non.
if you're also just saying every sign.
Put it
But
in.
also, in that same sentence, we still did not, I got rid of the sentence, Jim, about the, commercial properties, because the site plan review does not cover signage whatsoever. Because we had put language in that it would be covered under site plan review, but when I look at what's under site plan review, it does not talk about signage, so that wouldn't be covered. So commercial's still in the air, so if we want to keep the commercial sign at 16 square feet, it could fit right there.
Municipal just means the school, right?
Right.
School, town,
Town,
all
all
the
town.
town.
And the town.
But we're not touching commercial at all still in this, and that concerns me, unless we want to make that 16 square feet.
So, I mean, you want to add municipal somewhere?
Well, if we just leave it, no non-residential sign shall exceed 16 square feet, that's annulling the power. We can say a municipality can be 64 square feet, you know what I mean? If we're saying if it's not residential, it can only be 16 square feet.
So under 716 exempt signs, that's where your municipality and title 10 comes in.
Right, but 7.16.1 annuls 17.6 square feet. You see what I'm saying? We're undoing it by saying no sign in town can be more than 16 square feet. If we say that, then we're back where we're saying nothing to be 12 square feet, and that's what our problem was before. So reinventing the problem only with 16 square feet. Does anyone understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but I think an easy fix would be, if I'm putting a sign out for a farm stand or a business, if it's one side, whatever you want, 12, 16 feet, but if two sides, right, so people can see it, you cut me down to 2 by 4, or, yeah, which is 8 square feet on one side, that's not much room.
No, I think we just add the language of per face.
Yeah.
Per face, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking about the municipal sign in particular, the town sign.
yeah.
And if we leave that saying 16 square feet, we're limiting it, whereas the state down in 7.16.2, we're allowing right now, before the board says anything, we went with what the state said, which was 64 square feet. That gives the select board, I know, we can change
Yeah,
that number.
that's kinda big.
But 16 might be too small. We're talking about all other non-residential signs.
Yeah,
The town sign, we're going with the exempt
yeah,
down below.
yeah.
And so I don't wanna
Well, so
nullify
if you
that.
just in 7.16.1.c, that's where we're looking. If you just insert there, signs excluding municipal.
That's what I would like to do.
So put those two words in there.
Okay,
It's
I'm just
clarifying.
making sure.
Yeah, no, I'm for it.
No, I like that, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Okay?
How did the town get the permit to put this sign up in the first place? It
That's a
started
whole
all
nother
this.
ball of
We don't
wax
have
that I don't even
We don't
want to
have
get
time.
into.
We don't have time.
Okay.
There's a lot to it, we can talk about it after, but this is,
16.1G, no freestanding
ultimately
sign
was
shall
a-
exceed 6 square feet in height. I mean, sorry, 6 feet in height as measured from the ground. Is 6 feet too low for a sign, or are we happy with 6 feet height?
I mean, 6 feet, I'm 6'1",
Just 6, okay.
from the ground,
Yeah,
so the sign can't be
we can change that.
higher than me, which,
Well, Belmont's is already higher than that.
but you, does the slope count? So, my point is, if you want the
It
sign
would be from the
to
ground.
be, but it's not really level out there, is it? If
No.
it's gotta go the other way, it's gonna come down. So my point is, if you're gonna make it
Right.
level, the sign ultimately is gonna come up
So
on
we
one
can
end.
change that.
So I think.
But 8 feet.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably good. I don't know what the slope is, honestly. I just want us to take into account that the left side of
Yeah,
the sign may be significantly lower.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if how the 6 feet
You'd
is
have
gonna
to go by the
go.
greater number.
Right.
so let's go to 8 feet. How high do you think the Belmont sign is?
Probably
8 feet?
close
I
to it.
was thinking.
And that's already grandfathered in, so.
Right.
It's grandfathered in, but for
Yeah,
future.
but.
Yeah,
I would say
future
8
use.
feet would be suffice.
Okay, so
I don't even
let's-
think it's gonna crest that. I'm just
Well,
saying, like,
if you use
I
a
wanna aim-
16
Yeah, to be
square
safe.
feet, which is good size sign, which Belmont's is at least that.
At least.
At least.
But not both sides.
Per
But I have
face.
to say-
Per face, okay, okay,
I don't
okay.
really care that much.
No, if you throw it in,
No,
that's
it's true.
fine.
It cuts
My
it
thing
not.
is if-
Yeah, yeah.
If the grade's like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
Well, let's
you
go
might
with
be
8
burying
feet.
It could be wherever, it can't be
Still
in the right of way, so it's gotta be off, and you expect a commercial sign especially to be taken care of at the planning commission.
Right.
Listen, I'm
That's
all
all
for it,
in the
like I
law.
said, it's just, I think 8 feet would be suffice.
So for back to
As
17.
measured from the highest side,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
So
Let's
we,
go with 8 feet.
are we concluding that municipal, commercial is falling under that 16-foot rule then also as a non-residential? Because we have
Yeah.
nothing about commercial. in
It's
here.
8 feet now.
Pardon?
I thought we just changed it to 8.
Yeah,
That's
but that's gonna be applied to municipal, the commercial, so if someone opens, a restaurant, it's gonna apply to the 16 feet.
Yeah, that's fine, that's
Okay,
plenty.
Making
Yeah.
sure.
It shouldn't be like outsized for our sort of
Making
town.
sure. Okay, and then we went over the illumination, if everyone can just quickly glance at that. It's cookie cutter, boilerplate illumination, anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Oh, my God. Okay, signs that are exempt, which means they do not need to get a permit.
Minutes.
The first one is, signs erected by the municipality.
This is the rewritten one? This is the rewritten one?
Yeah, that is the
Yes.
proposed.
Yeah,
It's on
okay.
page 1 in the back.
got it?
Yeah, does everybody have one of these?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at her, so I don't think yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, so right now, we three plugged in the 64 square feet.
You're good.
Okay, I have a copy of that, sorry. What is it, not in your box?
No, I got it. I looked it all over, nothing
Okay.
jumped out as being.
Great, okay.
So well, how do we feel about that 64 square feet? Because now we're talking about per face. So that's
Yeah,
8 by
that's
8. That's
8
kind
feet
of
square.
huge.
No, it is huge, but I thought we just changed it to 8.
Now we're talking about the
That's-
No, that's
municipality.
height.
Oh, the missing,
Height.
Again, we just plugged in what the state requirement is, which is 64 square feet, but as a town, we can make that smaller.
So the state falls under Title 10,
Yeah.
Chapter 495, I think it is, but, and it's all spelled out exactly what the towns or the state can do, blah, blah, blah. And 64 square feet is on there, billboards,
Yeah.
billboards, none of
well,
this.
how big do you think the sign in
I think the
84
height is
was?
20 feet.
Wasn't it 32?
I know,
One face?
15 square feet.
Was it 15?
That's the first one, right?
Oh, seriously.
Previous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
So I mean, if you wanna give the municipality like 20 feet, I mean, 64 feet, that'd be like a billboard.
We just put that as a
You guys
placeholder.
gotta remember, there's a lot more to that law than what you're reading here and what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Municipality is mandated by law to have signs on every one of their buildings.
Yeah,
So, and they have to be seen from the highway or the road that it sits on.
yeah.
So the sign has to be, technically, the highway department has to have a sign on there. The school, the town, the library. So if you put all that information on the sign, and you've got a 16 square foot place to do it with, it doesn't really, it's not conducive to the town.
Okay, what do you think would be a good size?
I say stay at 64, it gives the town the discretion.
Okay.
It's, I mean, the law's already written for the state and the towns.
According to pricing, the larger the sign, the more expensive it's going to be, correct?
Right.
And the other
But
sign
the
being
options are there.
15 square
Well,
feet.
this time around, I think we can get volunteers to make the sign. I'm just giving my guess.
But if you were to put up a sign, I mean, how, that long thing that was up there, I mean, how long was that?
Over 8 feet,
12 feet?
34 and a half square feet.
34 and a half square.
one side.
That was 34 and a half square?
Not counting the pole.
Okay.
I thought you said 16.
Huh?
I thought
No,
you said.
that was
The original
the original
one.
sign.
Oh, okay.
That had Stamford Vermont, the library town, that you could see.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, it's up to us if we want to leave it at 64 and trust the select board to make it at their discretion when a new sign is made.
I don't think
I'm thinking for us,
anybody wants,
hands off, from what I'm hearing.
I don't think anybody wants to make things up.
Does the fire department count as a municipality?
Yes.
Right, because it's
Yeah.
funded? So you got 3 buildings in town.
Well, that
Right.
sign would have to go on the other side. And then the town shed would have to have a sign up their way.
Right, but that doesn't have to be 64.
No,
You
no.
know what I'm saying? That's what I'm.
Dave don't want everybody and their brother stopping in.
My point is I think that's, let the select board
Yeah.
deal with whether or not they want to accept what they got going on.
That's why when we go under exempt signs, we just refer to Title 10.
I think
Yeah,
that's,
no, that's good.
I think that's suffice.
I want to keep our board out of as much stuff that really.
If the law's written, we don't need to write anything else.
Yeah.
We can give our opinion based off of what's
Yeah.
written
Yeah.
and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, any signs incidental to civic organizations, which would be churches or, the Elks Club, I don't know, any kind of civic organization, Boy Scouts.
I'd keep them to what we have, 16 square feet.
That's what we have here, okay.
Um,
Okay,
And I just want to point out that if anybody on this board, when we vote on something and you feel strongly, when it goes to the select board, by all means, go there and fight with them. Because they'll give you 5 minutes per person, 15 minutes on a topic. I was on the select board, it's like,
45 if you're damn popular.
I got a little bit of seniority, and they like the topic, but anyway, don't be shy. You feel strong about something, you go there and that's what our democracy is about, right? And if they don't have thick enough skin to deal with it, I mean, I've had people screaming at me, actually, even Marta knows that. Right? But just so all the board members know, whatever it is, if we pass something to the select board, it's like, you feel strong about it, if you're outvoted here, and you feel strong, just go there and argue your case.
Not as a part of the planning commission, as a citizen.
Person.
As a visitor.
Just to clarify
As a
that.
visitor.
Because if we vote on something here,
Right.
we don't, it
Yeah.
would be bad to go there and say you're representing a
Right.
board that
Yeah,
vote in a
unless
different
it came
way.
from the chair.
No, that's a good point, that's a good
Just wanna make
point.
sure that you can go to the select board and have any conversation you want, but unless it's agreed upon here and voted on, it doesn't go as a recommendation from this board.
Yeah.
But that's for down the road.
Moving right along.
Yeah,
Okay, on premise, historic landmark, we said 6 feet, that seemed to be standard. Temporary signs for community events, we had, they could be displayed and removed promptly after the event. Non-advertising signs for direction, safety, public, not to exceed 2 square feet, so if it said, you know, town.
Park here.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, see if this won't take that long. One residential sign per dwelling identifying the occupant, not to exceed 2 square feet, so if you want to like the Smith's house or whatever. One unit wall mounted or freestanding sign per dwelling, advertising a home occupation, which is a job, not a takeover. Home-based business, child home, healthcare, home care facility, and we said 6 square feet for that. Okay, signs related to hunting, trespassing, not to exceed 2 square feet. Okay, one unlit sign per establishment for farms, not to exceed 6 square feet for a farm sign. Okay, temporary real estate sign, not exceeding 6 feet.
I'd like to go back to the 7632,
Yep.
the farm stand
Mhm.
stuff. Why does it have to be 6, why can't it be the 16 square?
I don't know, that's what we came up with.
I
think
know,
that was-
I know, but I'm just throwing
I
a
think that's
question out
what,
there.
yeah, I think that's what we found generally.
That was one of the
Towns.
ones we wanted to,
Yeah.
we have farmers here,
Yeah,
right?
if it's a business, as
It's
far
a
as I'm
business.
concerned, it should go under the 6.
Okay.
Right.
You got a garage, you got a home business in your house, it's like, people need to know what you're doing.
yeah, but we gotta make sure that that business is a legit business also. So I'm not saying anything to do with farming, I'm
Right,
just
this
saying,
is
like,
says
if I wanna be
associated
a,
farm operations.
have a sewing business in my thing, I mean, I could have a sewing business all I want, but if I don't have, you know, if I'm not a licensed business, or, you know, I don't have my tax ID number, or whatever the case may be, then technically I'm not a business, you know what I mean, so
And you
I
limit
don't.
6 square feet if you're selling.
Right, but we gotta, within there, I mean, it's got, I mean, that's on the board, I guess, to find out if they've got all that information.
Well, most small businesses don't need any types of permits unless you're doing something.
Medical.
All we have
You
here
still
is,
gotta be a licensed business.
right, and all
you
this
still
says
gotta
is
have a license.
associated with farm.
Right, farming is different, it's a
Yeah,
different ball
that,
wax.
farm is a whole different ball of wax.
I'm just talking about a business in
Well, but
general.
if you open a garage in your garage
Mhm.
for fixing small engines and stuff, you don't need a license for that.
You don't,
No.
but in order to be considered legal and fall under this.
But that
you
falls
have to
under
be-
that falls under the state. We have no rights here to,
Right, that's why I said the board has gotta figure out and make that
Not even the
decision.
board.
I'm just saying, that, like, I
And you wanna
know
run a
as a business
lot-
owner in Mass, that like, when I had to go in front of the select board to open my business. And everything's got a site plan, gotta have this, you can
Yeah.
have this side, you can't have that side, you can do this, you can do that. you
the
can't do this.
bylaws, the regular
I
bylaws
have
allows you to
approval.
have, it allows you to take up a 30%
Of your home.
of your own home for your own business. We don't require, in Stamford, we don't require you to come to the select board or to the planning commission to get a license to do that.
No, but in terms of signage, so that's where I'm.
You can
that's
put a
how
sign
I'm-
up too.
For 60, yeah, no.
You just gotta get a permit for it.
Right, but my point is 16 square foot sign
Yeah.
for a small business.
Keeps counseling
It's 6
service.
feet for any kind of business. This is.
I wouldn't wanna look at that, you know what I mean, like as a neighbor, you know what I mean, like I'm thinking about, you know, I don't know, it's a touchy subject, I guess,
Well, it's only
because.
6 square feet if it's a business. The 16 square feet refers to farm well, what he's talking about, farm operations, is a different question. Up here, we had any other home occupation of 6 square feet.
Would that be per face?
Her face, yes.
Okay, well, then,
Yeah,
I mean, if you got I'm just thinking, right? Like, if you've got a small engine repair, if you've got 2 by 3 square feet on either side to put your name, I mean, word of mouth, you're either gonna be good at
I get it.
it or you're not. I'll go along with that.
I'm just,
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need 16
I'm just to
square
talk
feet
about-
both faces.
right.
right. So
I'm just saying, a farm stand,
Right.
you might have, like, for instance, we have a portable farm stand that's coming down to the front field, right? So it could be a wag, it could be like a Western wagon.
Yeah.
And it's got, you know, the farm stand sign on it, Jaybird Farm. So that's gonna exceed 6 feet.
Of course, I think, I'm all for that. I
Yeah.
mean, next door, the Blood Farm, growing
Right.
up,
Right.
you know, he had like this,
Yep.
and then he'd hang up what he had ready.
Mm-hmm.
like Tanner Farm, the red barn.
Yeah, yeah.
They list, they have that big sign.
But it was both sides, you could see it coming north or south.
Right.
And he probably, I don't know, it had to be like,
You don't need it, I mean, for farm and stuff like that, you don't need a permit for that, but, you know, they probably should still adhere to the sign. So,
All right, go ahead, sorry to interrupt.
No, well, Jim,
Sorry,
so
okay.
Jim's.
no, that was a good
Yeah,
run around.
So I think we
don't
should
think we
change
have
the
an
6 feet to 16 for the farm.
The signs were 2 feet.
or just get rid of I altogether then, because that would make it fall under non.
But you got a good memory from 40 years
Yeah.
ago.
Right?
I had one in my garage.
Do we all think we should just get rid of the farm altogether?
Farms are exempt, right?
Yes.
From permits, yeah.
So I guess we do need to
Signs.
leave it there because it's under the exempt.
So do we wanna just change it to 12 square feet or 16 square feet or whatever?
For what?
The farm, anything, well, the
Well, if the
language,
farm's exempt, we don't have to worry about it.
One unlit sign.
well, but it has 6 square feet currently in the language we have.
For farms?
I don't think that's.
No, but if the state exempts them, you don't have any
States-
control over it. Farms have a lot of exemptions.
Yeah.
Well,
It's true, it's interesting, because this is like literally under exempt signs, and yet we're qualifying it.
well, exempt to a
Which is weird.
certain point.
Exemplifies doesn't mean.
Except from
exempt.
having
It
to get
doesn't
a
mean you
permit.
can do like, the town sign
Anything you
can be
want.
100
Right.
feet.
Right.
It's
So-
a starting point.
Right. That should be-
Okay, so
Right,
should we
it's
change
exempt
it
from
to
a permit.
16? It's exempt from a permit, but so do we want it to be 12 or 16 square feet?
I would say 12. Just put
12,
a 1 there. 16.
16
I mean, that's what it's gonna end up being for everybody, right?
No, that's gonna be for
for
farms.
farms.
But if they're
'Cause we don't want a
exempt,
16-foot real estate sign.
if farms are exempt, to me, it's like, I called up years ago on farm exemptions,
Yeah.
because I was fighting with the AO, and, turned out he was absolutely wrong, was quoting laws that didn't exist.
Oh.
And no, this was like 25 years ago, and it was all exempt.
Exempt only means you don't need a permit though. Exempt does not mean you can put it in any size you want.
It depends if the sign's exempt with agriculture, right?
It's just like the municipality in Title 10.
Yeah.
It's exempt from permits, it's exempt from sort of the, basically boards to stop.
So
But it does have a maximum amount of sign.
Vermont's one of the few states that is still like hugely agricultural friendly,
Right.
right? So I put in a farm stand, and this was Jim Sullivan like 4 years ago. He sent me all the laws. It's like, if I want to start a brewery there at the farm stand,
Yeah.
I don't need a permit.
Do it.
So I think
What are you waiting for?
make it
No, I don't have the, right, but I'm just saying, but the AO way back was telling me that if you don't grow 80% of your food on that property, you can't have a farm stand, and it's gotta be your own, and I'm like, no, that's I called up the state, I got all the info, it's like, no, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanna make sure if the sign's already exempt, For a farm stand.
You just have to be a registered farm, that's all. That's how the state protects you,
Yeah.
is if you have your certificate that says that you're a registered farm. And it's, everybody can get one. I don't know. So, there's some specifics that you gotta fulfill.
All right, what if we make it the 16 then, because we'll just treat it like a business sort of like that.
Yeah.
Everybody good with
If
16?
you leave the number at 16 for
It's at 6
everybody.
right now. So do we wanna allow, so I'll read it. 7.16.2.j, one temporary real estate sign not to exceed 6
Right
square
on real
feet.
estate.
Right.
Right here.
Sorry, wrong one. 7-16-2.I, sorry, I can't talk. One unlit sign per establishment associated with a farm operation not to exceed 6 square feet in an area. Do we wanna go to 12 or 16?
So we're talking about local rules or state rules?
So I think we just
Local.
talk about that. Well, didn't we go to the local? So the local laws was 16 we changed, right? Is that what the number
Well, it's
was?
currently at,
6. We found 6 in most other municipalities had 6, but we can do 16.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you wanted a permit to put somewhere, a sign somewhere, you can't exceed 16
Right,
square feet.
right.
So let's just keep that as a,
so.
For the living.
you know, a basic, right there.
Yeah, I'm cool, I'm fine with that.
Is
The less-
everybody okay with that?
I'm fine.
Any more discussion?
No.
It would be too confusing to change different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Jim.
His dynamite's burning over there. What do you got, Dave? You got something?
I got lots of stuff, but I want you
Okay.
guys to finish first.
All right, so one temporary real estate sign, 6 feet square area per face. We talked about whether or not we should put the per face in there, but I guess we should have. Or I can make a stop sentence at the beginning that says, refers to per face for all
yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
I'll word it in there. These all will be per face. Okay, temporary auction, garage sale, not to exceed 2, and Aldi, I remember your question last time about number, we'll get there. But for this one, we have 2, if you're having a yard sale, can't be more than 6 feet, and it's removed immediately after the sale. Cool? Okay. Temporary election signs, follow state law. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, well, of course you are. You both write this.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else? Okay. Temporary construction sign, we again went with the 16 feet. And it must be removed immediately after completion of construction. Okay, signs not allowed, no billboards, that's a state law. No flashing, oscillating, or revolving signs. Internally illuminated, like Clarksburg. No signs on your roof. No signs that could impair public safety. Signs that appear to direct movement of traffic or resemble traffic signs, that's kind of a given, right? It would confuse the traffic. You know, signs that obstruct view from merging traffic, that seems a no-brainer. Okay? Aldi did have a question last meeting about, we did not specify that how many signs somebody could have, so if Vermont wanted to put up 20 signs, that's probably a problem. So we probably need to include in here somewhere the number of signs, I'm not sure where.
It's limited by he's on the state highway, so he's limited.
So what if it's not on the state highway? Let's think outside of the state highway, how many,
Like Stamford Golf Course, let's say that one. 'cause it's not on
okay,
the state
yeah,
highway.
right. Or we
What does our bylaw say now?
I don't think it does.
I think it
Belmont's
does.
already outside of the state highway,
No,
the
it's not.
sign. Yeah,
It's somewhere in here it's written,
No, it's not.
one sign per.
25 feet from the center line.
We allowed we allowed 2 signs for, oddly enough, for a yard sale, and that's the only time we mentioned the
That's a
number of signs.
temporary type of thing.
Right, we don't have any mention of how many signs in here. And our previous bylaw does not also include any
I
mention
live
of
with
numbers of
something
signs.
else elsewhere, so it gets, like, as you're finding out, it gets mind-boggling after a while.
Yes, it
But,
does.
It does say 716-2F, one residential sign per dwelling.
Right,
Yeah.
we were random
And here, when you
saying
get
how
to
many.
There you go.
16.2.2,
That's what I
one
read.
unlit, one temporary, one temporary, so there
But
are
we're
a
not
number.
consistent.
They're all temporary,
What if
except
they're attached
one
to
sign for
the building?
business.
Say, like Belmont's wanted to advertise
Right.
all the stuff they had for sale inside and had
Like that's a
multiple
difference.
signs on the building.
Right.
Think you could do the building?
Yeah, cause don't they have one banner or something on the long side?
Yeah,
Did
I
they
think you
have
can
one?
put it on the building.
On the building, it doesn't matter.
Can't put it on the roof, I know that's part of this one.
No, but the building, and include the municipal sign, put on the building,
Right.
okay, size, but there's other rules for getting a scenic highway, whole different game.
Right. and-
Dave, are you getting any federal funding for any of your roads through the state?
State funding, not federal. The only federal we get is when we have flooding.
So everything you're sure that the state gives us is not?
Well, they might get it from the feds, but they,
That changes
they're doling
everything.
it out as a
I'm just
state.
gonna let you know it changes everything.
Yeah, we get state funding every year, whether it's a grant or.
If you wanna continue to get funding, they have specific rules that we have to follow, especially on the state highway.
Okay, so, but not to put that off, Dave.
No,
Just
no.
1 second.
Go
I
ahead.
just want to go back to Ollie's question about, we are not consistent about saying, sometimes we said one, most of the time we said one. I don't know if we want to limit the municipality to just one. I mean, we aren't saying how many in here, and I can see that being a problem,
What type of sign are you talking about?
depending. Like the municipality, Belmont's, McKay's Farm, like where they want to put a hive, I don't know, you know.
I read something, you can't have any more than two, and how they cover that is exactly what you're saying. You take a sign, you put it on both sides. What I read, and I'll show you here, is that if it's 64 square feet, like Jim says, it's 32 foot side. That's two signs.
That's the way it's,
I've got it here. I'll
it's
show you that.
64 square feet. So
Right,
it's 32
32
on
and
one
32.
side, 32 on the other.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That's under Title 10 as well.
Right,
The
that's
state
what I'm looking at.
understands.
Yeah, right.
So should we be changing it to 30?
I'm just saying this is where the state refers to square footage, they're referring to both sides. That's why I was
And this is where it really gets combined.
That's why I'm saying,
Well, no, the municipality, they can do what they want, they're exempt. We're talking about local signs. We
Right.
chose 16 square feet
right,
each side, which gives you a 4x4
32.
side.
total.
But Lisa was gonna put in at the beginning of this,
That it refers to per.
it refers to per side.
16
Yeah,
per side. So what I'm saying though, under Title 10, it's referring to total.
Right.
So it would be 16 and 16 for a total of 32 square feet per side.
no, because we're gonna put a clause in at the beginning saying that it's referring to both sides.
Okay.
That way,
That
that
makes
keeps it
sense.
simple. If we're down to the
Makes sense.
4 square foot sign or the
Right.
6
Where
square
do
foot
you see
sign,
Jim in there?
everybody's under the same thing that refers to each side.
Arlington,
So maybe we need to have a little sort of preemptive thing that says, all square footage refers to per face.
Right.
And maybe we also need to have something that says, unless otherwise specified, is one sign per property.
But
I'm
not 100%
Lisa
sure where
mentioned
it
that a
is.
little while ago to put that in, so I think we're already covered.
Okay.
But I know I wouldn't have wrote it down unless I read it.
Yeah, I don't see it in there.
Arlington put together a really
I know they refer to
sign
total
thing based
area.
on
So
state.
do we want to limit it one
And local.
sign unless otherwise specified? Or we could even get rid of the 2 yard sale, that's the only one that has a 2. I'd get rid of all the, time we mentioned 111, and I could just put.
No, I think what Dan said is correct. We refer to it as per face.
No,
and then
but
that-
the number of signs.
Oh, a number sign.
Well, that we have to decide.
That's
Yeah,
part of
right.
this.
Anybody interested in what Arlington's doing?
You know, well, I think so, but I think you're gonna go off topic. with-
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I understand
716,
what Arlington's doing, I
So
don't.
seven-
Give it a shot.
716-2A refers to signs erected, maintained, and administered by town on public roads not exceeding 64 square,
Sweet, that's shorter.
64 square feet in area. That's per state regulation.
No
So
signs
they
will
even
contain more than
refer
32 square feet on each side,
State regulations, so somewhere it's in here.
shall not exceed 8 feet.
I'm not
I couldn't
kidding
find
you.
it in there.
Well, Vermont has a law against billboards, so that's probably why they're sticking with that.
Correct.
Says here, no premises should have a sign over 4 square feet.
I don't
These
care
people,
what they say.
That's a
It-
that's a
it-
town, that's a
we're
different
not
town
in
by
our-
law.
What do you
That's
mean?
another
they're
town.
found
law.
state regulations. that's
They're
why.
not state regulations.
Okay, Dan, tell me all about it.
Anyways, let's go
Wait, I
back
don't hear what Dave
to,
is
let's go
saying.
back to ours.
I want to hear what Dave is saying.
We can sit down and go through every one of them, okay?
You got a copy of the law, I'll believe you. I'm not going by hearsay.
I don't do anything by hearsay, and I don't want to be arguing with you right
Dave,
now.
where did
That's
you
all.
find 4 square feet?
Arlington followed the state recommendation.
Arlington, what year was that?
Right. Who knows, but I mean, it's,
You need a law.
they're giving 64 square feet, so that's probably under the, everything that I've looked up is under the new 2024 Vermont statutes annotated 494, 495. So anything that I'm gonna discuss is been
Look,
approved.
look, I've been on this board for 30 years and like 15 with you.
Yeah.
Somebody brings in a law, they wanna quote stuff, you bring it in, you show the law, you show the number of the law, I'm not taking hearsay. And this board shouldn't take hearsay.
Why are you saying this to me, Dan? I told you I have the laws. You don't
Well,
listen
show
to
me
me.
the law.
Well, here, why don't you take the time to
So,
read this?
I
and
don't,
start
show
asking
me the law. Show me the law.
So
I'm not gonna
let
do
me,
the law.
let me interject here for a second. Now, I'll be the calmer person here. We have what we worked very hard on
Yeah.
for weeks.
Yeah.
We're bringing it before you now, and we're almost done with it, and then we're gonna take a vote to accept it or not to accept it. And quite frankly, what you have there is something that Arlington did, and I respect what you did and all the learning curves, and I did go in and research a bunch of other stuff that you had mentioned before as far as the scenic route and everything else, and I see what you were reading. So with that in mind comes this. This was all taken into consideration as well. So I am giving your advice a lot of credence here, so
All I'm saying
Let us
is that
finish.
yes, I want you to, and I have been.
let us
The
finish.
last
this.
meeting, you asked me to research it.
Yes.
I did it. I have it, and either you want to hear it or you don't,
I
after you
want to
don't.
hear what you
Okay.
found about the scenic, what you
Oops.
found about the scenic.
It's more than, it's, because it's scenic, it becomes state, and that's where but let's talk about this. Everything that you're talking about right now, if there's state funding involved, even on the town roads, it affects it. And Jim should have saw that right away in his research.
I couldn't find it either.
Okay, well, I have it, and like
I know,
Dan said,
I
show me the
didn't see it.
laws,
Right.
I got them
Maybe
all.
you,
So,
after this meeting ends, you and I can stay and you can show me.
you can make copies.
Yes.
There's certain regulations that what Dave's referring to, and I'll mention one of them where he
Thank
does
you.
have a valid point. But I was able to see in Bennington and Wilmington, where it just doesn't matter. So scenic routes on Route 100, first tunnel, scenic routes, playgrounds, any kind of playground
Just pass it down.
is, it has to be a 300-foot setback in order for,
Good point.
right? So that's that point.
So we have a playground right here, right?
Well,
We don't have a
again,
choice.
as I read up onto it, they don't include schools. That's not,
Here's
that's
where I
not
come
town.
in. Yeah, hold on a
just
second.
saying.
Here's where I come in with my 15 years' experience, though I've been here for 50. We were gifted the playground by patent that's under trust. That's a town playground park. It's not. a
Where is that
school.
playground?
The soccer field, the tennis
It's
courts.
300 feet? It's beyond the 300 feet.
No, it
It's
isn't.
back here, it's
Hold on
beyond
a
the 300 feet.
The baseball, the basketball, it's not 300.
It's close.
It's maybe 2
We'll
foot.
call it 3 feet.
But my point is, it's a town park. Anybody in this town can use this, it isn't the schools. Patent funded it, and in fact, we were supposed to keep it up, and they turned it into a seed program, and you see what that looks like. Right?
Long before Patton donated anything, the only thing Patton donated was behind the
The soccer
general
field.
store.
The soccer.
The rest of it was the town, I was here in third grade, okay? The rest of it went all the way to the brook when I was here in third grade.
He put the tennis courts in, and we signed.
He might have put them in, but it was already town property.
The soccer
The
field.
piece below the general store, he donated to the town.
That's fine, Dan, but answer the question, is this a school playground, or is this a town park?
It doesn't say town park.
Can anybody
Town
from the
people
town,
can use it.
yes, that's it. So, anyways, my point to Jim is, he read the law, he's correct. Under scenic highway, you're not supposed to, within 300 feet, have a sign next to a park. He's right. You read it. All I'm saying, that's the stuff.
Technically, it's not a park, it's a fucking school
I guess my
playground.
question is there some really significant problem with this bylaw that we've written?
Yes.
And why did you say it as we were going through each one now? Like,
Because
what
you
is
said
your
patient.
objection? What do
So
you see?
I'm not objecting
So,
to anything.
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of rubbish, I think we iron out a few more things and then we vote on
we
it.
move forward, and if you want to deny it, I mean, that's fine.
From you?
Yeah,
And then you
All right.
can go to the.
that's the outline I wanted to cover after they were done, that's all. And I'm not saying what's right or wrong, it's just points.
Let's do,
We finished.
let's, before we get into some other discussion, let's sheet,
I just don't know where, did you type these updated? Did you type these updated?
yeah, did you hear
I
that?
just don't know the source
You
of,
guys get us in trouble, you were in here
It doesn't
before me.
say
You know,
VSA.
where the pickleballers
like,
were.
has any lighting, where did you get that?
Oh,
It did sound like it.
I have it on my DSA. I just forwarded them for you, but I have everything.
Yeah, because we found that you could have.
I got it
lighting.
all.
You can't have lighting.
You can
You
have
can't,
lighting.
that should say no lighting.
Right, your paper says no lighting, and I didn't find that anywhere.
Oh, it's stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
But
you
I'm
might-
seeing it
I'll
that way.
stay with you after the meeting, we can look
Are you,
at it.
I got it right here for you.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with adding in the general sign regulations on 7.16.1 that just simply says,
That it refers to one sign per premises and,
unless otherwise?
and unless
Yes.
otherwise specified, and also, one, limit to one sign per premises.
Is that, are you good
But
with putting
would that
that
be
as
a-
a start, is it just a
I-
general?
That becomes a problem for
The only,
bonds.
the only thing that I have a problem with that is if you refer to, if you refer to it as people running businesses can come to the select board or come to the
So we need
planning
like,
commission.
unless otherwise approved.
Otherwise approved by the select board.
Somebody might want to
Or-
use an exit sign.
Zoning.
Right.
I
Right.
have to interject here, I just got a text from Laurie. She said 2 phone calls came from the town office to her
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah,
She wants
look-
to know if everything's okay.
I was trying to find the recorder.
Yeah, we were just trying to find a
I left
recorder.
her a
Okay.
message on her phone.
Okay. So,
Tell her it was yesterday, we were trying to get hold
She
of her.
said the dates, is that
Where the hell has she been all day?
So,
So in conclusion, if we say that all signs refer to square area per face,
Yes,
like includes 2 faces, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And also 1 sign per premises unless otherwise specified.
approved by the select board.
yes.
Right.
You
It's
can be
not-
more
I don't-
restrictive, just like
I
you
don't,
said.
I don't wanna take the 16 square foot sign and make it be strictly 16 foot, both sides. So, in other words, it would be 32, but, you see what I'm saying?
It's not really, you're only seeing one side at a time.
Yeah, it's,
It's
from
kinda
everything I've read,
ridiculous
it's
It's like the area.
I'm
We're
just,
talking
I'm
about
just
the
saying
area.
that when you read the state law,
just because it's printed on both sides.
it
it's
refers to 64 square feet of area.
still- Right.
right,
We're gonna
well, we
put
already
something
said,
in there.
and Lisa had the idea, is you preempt this with, this is 16 per side. Okay, it's per side.
Yeah, per
That,
face.
and this is our
So this paper is
regulation.
8.5 by 11, okay? I'm gonna say the sign can be 8.5 by 11. I can still print it on both sides. The sign requirement is 8.5 by
Okay,
11,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I will put something in the beginning that states that, and clarifies that.
Okay, let's vote on
We
it.
are done.
No.
You guys wanna vote?
Pardon?
What makes a municipality exempt?
You don't wanna do what I have to say.
Under chapter,
Not for-
or title 10,
Not for-
chapter
Yeah.
45. Basically what it does
Why am I-
is allow
I just
state
read what
street
you
signs
gave.
up,
Okay?
town,
I'm not gonna go through all of that. We make a mistake here, you say we broke a law, you go to the select board.
Point of order, please.
Order, I would call that.
I can call it too, anybody can call it, you should know that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
I'm trying to.
I would like to be
listen
official about that. Shut the fuck up.
you. Go ahead.
Jim was making a point that now I forgot. Oh, about, but I think those, the street signs and stuff fall under your purview, correct?
Anything in the right.
Yeah.
That falls under
Side
the
street
And
sign.
the
MUTCD
And
that
all
they.
the
Thank you.
municipal exempt only refers to the town does not have to get a permit. That's what the word exempt means. But they're still limited on the size. And we said, we're gonna let them go with 16 square foot, but the select board will then hem that into what they see fit.
Right. Yeah.
And that, what that refers on is that the state is required by law to have signs in certain places for traffic or for, you know, whatever that they use them for, the businesses, and so it allows them to come in and put, and that's why you see everything that says not in the right of way, which is the state right of way or the town right of way.
Yeah.
That's what we're referring to, which is 26 feet or so from the center line.
Okay, so signs for the school are exempt.
You do not need a
Dave, is it
permit.
25
You
feet
don't need a
from the center
permit.
line?
Yeah. Anything
So you
within
can't
that.
just put it anything you want here.
Correct. Okay, so I make a motion to both
No,
these.
not for the town, does not.
What changes
The town
we
does
just
not have to
made?
get permits.
Anybody second?
Second.
Any sign?
Aldi, we're getting ready to vote here.
Well, let's make sure he understands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm still wondering
Although
about
they-
this exemption.
It just means they no longer have to apply for a
Huh?
permit, but they still have to
Easter's
abide by
third.
the size.
Is it?
And the lighting
According to
rules.
this?
They have to
60
apply,
foot
they still have
right
to
away.
abide by the illumination rules and the size rules. They
But-
just don't have to go to the, AO and get a permit any longer.
Okay,
But
so
that's a town
this whole bylaw change started from a sign that was legal to start
It needs to
with?
be long, yeah, done long ago.
Yeah, technically, yeah, you're right.
So if you want, also, hunting signs are exempt, if you wanna say no hunting, or, you know, those are also exempt, you don't have to get permission.
Yeah, but they're all less than 60 feet.
Right, well, so we're just outlining what does not need a permit, basically. These are things you can put up, a real estate sign does not, the realtor doesn't have to go to get a permit from Deb. So we're basically outlining what you know, it's not need a permit.
Just keep it out of the.
And again, technically, the town,
Which.
the exemptions from the
Don't
state
give a shit about it.
is under a whole different thing. They have,
30 feet or
we have no
25 feet.
rights to change any of that stuff, but we can make our own bylaws here for us. That's
Okay,
what
it's just
they'll-
I haven't seen anything in the bylaws that says that that the town is exempt.
That's what we're doing right now. Because we
State says it
technically, if
already.
our bylaws
The
doesn't
state
say,
already says that.
right,
And that's for us and them?
Vermont says it's exempt, meaning does not need a permit, but
There's plenty of laws to follow, even though you don't need to. permit.
they don't care what we write.
Right,
They do-
Dave's
they're gonna
right.
do it
It
anyway.
still has to follow the other laws.
So I'm referring to the school driveway,
Yeah,
what's it saying?
So,
also.
is everybody okay now? Motion? We already got a motion, we already got a second.
Yeah.
This is, you're
Call
running
the
this.
vote.
You want to call a vote?
David's reading something right now.
He's already voted yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Could we just raise our hands for
Aye.
ayes? Aye.
Aye.
David, you and I?
I'm not.
Okay,
All opposed?
okay.
Aye,
The ayes take it.
It sounds absurd, but
Okay, but this is still gonna be modified.
Select board.
you understand what they're saying?
So
Dave?
this
So
is
now,
sense, though.
what
yeah, it sounds
happens,
absurd.
Select board
It is in a
takes
way.
and they don't.
The state
This is
has
more of a
control of this
The select
driveway.
board.
so what happens now is we have to
That's what they're
hold a public hearing.
No.
Why?
So-
Because it's public,
Well, the
Yeah, we
next
do.
step,
Only if the select board wants to, they can approve it.
that's the law.
We have to.
No, it's
we have
not
to
the
hold-
law.
I'm talking to Dave.
Well, still, what this says is still considered a highway, it doesn't say who has, authority over it. It's just under DOT regulations.
Well, you're not the DOT, so
Okay, so,
Well, no, but
what I'm saying is the
it's
state
not really the
controls
state either.
the driveway.
No.
No.
No, it just says we have to follow the regulations of the DOT. It doesn't
Thank
say
you.
you're
So
under.
if you have a 25-foot setback from the state highway, and they have the driveway, now you have to have a 25-foot setback from the driveway. See how complicated this gets?
No, it isn't.
But see, it says, but this is still not the MUTCD regulations, so it's,
It is the MUTCD, I just truncated it, I pulled it out of there. It is.
you
So,
can take it however you wanted it with this place anyway.
No, not here, I'm talking about way out front here. We're talking about entrance to the
Well,
highway.
so when we sign this, you'll notice everything is a breakaway post that I put up. So we have followed all of that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying you have it, but I'm saying, this is the dilemma that we're in here.
It's not a
Even trying to put
dilemma to
up,
us, it's only a dilemma to you.
oh, okay.
And
So-
we'll see what the select board
Well,
thinks.
we
Dan-
want to make sure that we're following the rules properly.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I'm not debating whether he's right or wrong, but
Right, thank you.
I feel
And I'm
we
not
are.
saying I'm right or wrong, I just wanted to throw
Yeah.
out some stuff for discussion,
Yeah.
and I can't even
Yeah,
get the
so we
respect.
can kick this
to do it.
around for another 6 months.
Dan, you talked for the whole time, I haven't had 5 minutes to say anything, so you
Yeah.
people asked me to
Right.
bring something.
We voted,
And
it's
now you
over.
don't wanna hear it, so
no,
good.
the
Fine.
only issue is, Dave, is that now I have a list that you typed out for us, but it has no, reference points for you to check with, and I know you have a big pile of papers there, but that's not helping.
I wanted to go through those reference points, and we took 5 minutes.
Okay.
You already voted, doesn't matter. All I wanted to, really, I'll just truncate this. All I wanted to say is that because of the scenic highway, we're under much more restrictions than just a regular state highway. The state, I had it all set up for you, sorry, I got it all combobulated, but basically, and this started in 1937 in Vermont, and in 1966 was the first scenic highway, Route 100, in the state of Vermont, starting from Massachusetts to the Canadian border. There are severe restrictions to keep the aesthetics of the scenic highway. And the state has to okay just about everything you want to do, especially if you try to alter the highway, whether it's putting a driveway out on it. They don't want the highway changed. Signs are a big portion. Dan brought up a point about billboards. They're banned in Vermont. We're one of 4 states that ban billboards and signs. Vermont's very funny about their signs. Here's the DOT, MUTCD I'm talking about. They claim that the school driveway is still under state regulation. And I looked at that and said, so you're telling me you can't have 25 feet from the state center? Now they're telling us we can't go 25 because it's all part of their highway.
well, it's
So
not.
even if we put up
They're not
another
saying
sign.
it's part of their highway,
don't
they're just
allow
saying
it.
you have to follow the MUTCD
Yeah.
regulations. So we also have to follow them on our town.
Is a private driveway or parking lot a
State's not
public
in control
road?
of it.
The answer depends on the nature of the property, the driveway or yard. Is it open to the public? US DOT safety regulations, if the private property has restricted gates or fences, signs, the public cannot gain access, then it does not meet the highway definition, which means commercial vehicles operating in the area are not subject to DOT. So basically what they're saying is that parking lot is subject to all DOT regulations, which is setbacks for signs and everything else.
I don't buy it.
Well, I think you have to find you have to follow the
VSA.
MUTCD.
I don't buy it.
Signage goes.
Yeah.
I drive all through Vermont, and every town I go through has a sign out front.
I don't
For the
think-
school.
Oh, I'm not supporting that. In fact, Reedsboro's got a beautiful sign. Have you ever looked at Reedsboro's sign? I think that's the one we should.
That's Route 100, all their signs in town are
all
all,
of this right here is just friendly.
No, it's
Title
sign.
10.
yeah, but they're all,
These are
you
just-
know,
so
25
there's
feet
your
from the
reference.
center line.
And there's nothing in.
Right, so
there's nothing in
the
Title
civic
10
stuff is
or
like,
defined as a
David's gotta
safety
follow
group.
DOT stuff.
That's something that.
Which is guided by the
I don't-
scenic bylaws.
Right, but, You,
I'm sorry, it is, it just isn't.
I mean,
And
these are,
Vermont sign down here,
so do
They
you have
put
a
it in
copy,
the
do you
town
have a
plan.
copy of the DOT?
yeah, hold on a second.
It's about.
Let me tell you about Vermont sign.
It's up the garage.
The Belmont sign is more than 25 feet from the center line.
It's, I understand that, but what it says, yeah, that's true. What it says under the law here, and this goes for just about anything. Any sign or display along the interstate system or the federal aid primary system, and that's why I asked Dave, are we getting any federal aid for these town or state highways? That's what they're saying. Was not lawfully erected shall be removed by the owner, no later than 90th day. By states, if any owner does not remove a sign, display, or device in accordance with paragraph, okay, scenic byway prohibition. If a state has a scenic byway program, the state may not allow the erection along any highway on the interstate system, which before or after effective date of this subsection is designated as a scenic byway under such program of any sign or display or device which is not in conformance with subsection C, and then you gotta read that, it goes under the MUTCD. So all I'm saying is we're trying to set laws that they're saying, these are the laws you're gonna follow, and that's all I'm trying to say. So Jim, you looked at some of the,
I read it all.
well, the MUTCD book is large, I've read it too,
Well-
and it's huge. And those laws are very,
But those seem to,
strict to the
don't those
state.
govern more what Dave's work?
Yeah,
And
it's
we don't get
state aid.
any, we don't get any grants for the state highway.
It seemed like it was more Dave's.
Yes, we do.
Do you get grants for the state highway?
When I read,
Not first,
when I read all the
sidewalk.
You got the
scenic,
sidewalk, you got the
The scenic
bridges,
routes.
you got the, it goes on.
when I
and
read,
on.
when I read what he's referring to, I believe, is that the only thing that I could see that we could be, if somebody could tell me that playground out there, which I know was just recently done, if that is considered a playground, it's not usually in a school.
Well, it's gated and you can't have access during the school day.
Exactly. So that's the reason why the language is not, if I'm a lawyer, if I'm going to court, blah, 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 and that's what you gotta refer to on all of this information, is it has to, I forgot exactly the name of it's gotta do the sweat test, in other words, basically, and right now, we're good, let's move on.
Yeah.
All that's really saying, Dave, is that it has to follow the regulations of the MUTCD, right?
I understand.
So, if you wanted to get technical, our sign has to be on breakaway posts.
Yep. A lot of things. Right here, this will be the last thing I have to say about the whole thing. Under the state travel information, there's a list of people that we can go to from the state level to tell them, ask them what we're trying to do. Let them know that we're on a scenic highway. You can call any one of those people and they'll be able to direct you. I would get the AOT person. I wouldn't go with the baker and the wood guy. I'd go with the guy that knows the laws on the road. And you can just run it by him and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Is it legal? Save yourself a lot of trouble. So we're not ripping out another sign, because that's what we're gonna end up doing.
That's off the top of where the dates are.
No, there's a wood guy there it's on the board. You want the guy that knows the laws, right?
And the
You
travel
can call him.
council, the travel council told me that.
You don't think
I
you
don't
need to?
think it's necessary, to be honest with you.
To amend our.
So, Dan,
I mean, we're not advertising a public park.
moving forward,
Yeah.
I spoke to Lori about it, and she said that once it gets approved at this level, it has to go to a public hearing, or a public meeting. So we
15-day notice.
we
Announce.
schedule another
We
meeting,
have to warn.
warn
Is
it,
this a
whatever.
change in the bylaw?
No, we had to do this for the bylaws before, and,
No, but-
No, they're changing the bylaws.
Are we changing the bylaw?
Yes.
yes.
It's gonna
Then
change
it
the
goes
whole
to the
bylaw.
select board, the select board decides if they want a public hearing or if they want to vote on it. The law allows either way.
So Laurie's was the one that told me that.
Yeah, but I know I've been through the zoning
Okay.
bylaws, like,
Well, I was with you when we did it.
yeah, but I've done it twice before that, from this board.
I
And
was on-
it's up to the selectmen.
I was under the understanding that first, as a planning commission, we have to have a warn of a public meeting within 15 days notice, with 15 days notice. And open up what we
Maybe,
have
maybe
written
for a
first
change.
before we give it to the select board. I could be wrong.
No, you might be right on that.
That's
But
what-
the overall vote, the select
Then it
board,
moves on.
Oh, no, we don't
Choose.
vote on, it doesn't,
no, with the select board, okay, you might be right on the
so the
15
people.
day for us, but then when it goes to the select board,
Right,
But then
they
it also has,
then can either have a public hearing before, and let the townspeople vote on a change in the zoning bylaw, or they can decide to do it themselves.
but there's a 15 day warning, and then after that, I can't remember how long, it's for grievances
Yeah.
that people can make, and then it goes to the select board, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
And then what you say.
Yeah.
so Lori told me that we have to do it here,
Yeah.
so that the public has input on this,
Yeah.
once we warrant it. And then from there, it goes to the select board,
Yeah,
and then they do the same thing,
yeah,
or they could
Right,
just,
then they have. to
or they
also
can
have a
just sign
public-
it,
No,
Yeah.
they still have to have a public hearing notice. The select board does.
maybe they do.
Just
But
to-
I know they can decide, like I was on
Right,
this
they
board
can
like
just say, we
15
don't
years
care
ago,
what the public
and
says.
I was outnumbered by everybody on the board. At the public hearing, we had 80 people in the school. Everybody was furious.
no.
The board approved it anyway. I was
They
out,
can, yes.
voted 4-1. They sent it to the select board. Then I went to the select board and we fought it there, and I think that was like 15 years ago. That was brought to a town vote and the town people voted it down.
What was it?
But the select board has the discretion. They can just like sign off. But something like that was that volatile, the select board's like, well, we better let the townspeople vote on it.
Do you remember what it was, Dan, because I was on the board, I don't remember.
I don't know if you were or not back then.
15 years ago, like 2001.
All right, I think we're past that.
Yeah.
Letter to the BCRC regarding regional plan.
Okay, so so I will check with Lori then about scheduling our public hearing for this, 15-day notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't it just be our next meeting and?
No, we have 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let me just check with Lori to make sure on it all. 'Cause I think
Can
that's
we,
meeting
do this quicker than next month?
We probably could.
That way we can maybe get it, it's gonna be the next, we won't make it to the annual meeting with it.
No, we weren't gonna try to.
We weren't
Lori was
trying.
incorrect anyway about, but she told us the 20th, 27th, but it was really the 16th for the warrant.
So we were already too late.
We couldn't get it
No
as a
big
town
deal.
warrant.
Parks are getting a water.
Sorry.
So what's your
I'll
decision?
speak with Lori, would you like to meet earlier than next month then on this?
I said yes.
You give it maybe in 15 days after I want it? It's done?
Well, it depends on if you give the
Do
warrant.
we have to go over this letter to the BCRC?
Finishing up buttoning up the whole sign thing.
If we gotta give a 15-day notice, that puts us in March.
That goes into my
Yeah.
15 days.
Because today's the 10th, and it's 5 business days, 15 business
I don't think
days.
it's business days.
Are you sure?
Well, 100% sure. but
Any idea if it's business days or
It's
actual?
regular days.
Yeah, if it's business days, then it puts us literally
I
today,
don't think it's business days, but I could be wrong.
let's say for hypothetical
Okay.
minutes. Okay, 'cause I have no idea, but we can find out. It still puts us this week, next week, and the last week in February. That's 15 days on the money. Well, actually, tomorrow would be 14 days, but in the month of the first, the 3rd of March would be the 15th day. So that's on a Monday, so that still
Town
puts
meeting.
us,
And that's town meeting days.
is it March 3rd? is town
Isn't it?
meeting?
First
Is it?
Monday?
I can't remember. I guess so.
Yeah,
Are we gonna make any attempt at all to make sure that what we're trying to change, we can change?
No, we already voted.
No, it has something to do with the vote. This group, is anybody gonna really take a look at the scenic highway part of it, call somebody from the state?
Jim's already looked at it.
I
You
think,
didn't call anybody from the state.
no, I didn't call anybody from the state.
That's all I'm
Did
asking.
you
Why do you wanna go
call
through
anyone from
this?
the state?
No, I didn't, because why would I do that?
Look,
unless-
when we did this, I redid the zoning bylaws. I hate getting into everything with you. Jim Sullivan was here. If we had an issue with the freaking signs, he would have brought it up. What we passed on the signs was good for him.
I dealt with Jim just as much as you, probably more.
No.
Okay, so I think the 15-day notice puts us to March 3rd is the 15th day, because I'm gonna take that tomorrow is gonna be the day that they'll be
The
notified.
reason we're having trouble, we're having.
March 3rd would be the 15th day. If it's business days,
It wasn't done wrong.
so we're already
Your
through
money
that
was
week
done
unless we
wrong.
meet
The
Tuesday,
sign
Wednesday,
that they
Thursday, or
put
Friday,
wasn't
and
done
we're
wrong.
down
They
to
did
the
it
10th
It was legal.
for
That's your opinion.
for a meeting on
The
March
10th
10th.
is the next
I
week.
can't- I'm
It's a
sorry. I'm
municipality.
sorry, I can't
I'm just
understand what
wrong.
word you're saying. We have people arguing down here.
If we're
So you guys
looking
pick
at
a
the
date, I'm good.
Enough, enough.
If we're at the 15, because we have to give 15-day notice, we're unclear, I am anyways, unless anybody else can verify it for me, that 15 days is business days. So the 15th day puts us at March 3rd for the town, for the notice.
Just for giggles, what if it's not 15 business days?
That's,
Then it would be the 24th, we would be able to, I would assume, 7,
March 3rd.
And how quick can
well, the
Lori
15th
warn
day
it?
would be the 25th of this, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong month.
From tonight.
Yeah, 25th of February.
Because I think it's gotta
Well,
go in the.
26th, because tomorrow's the notification day.
Right.
So the
Keep our eyes
26th.
on
Places.
places
Right,
of
so no
conservation.
matter what, we're at the 10th, unless we meet any other day besides Monday.
I mean, we're really,
26
we're
is
in no
conservation
hurry.
commission already.
I mean, it's just as long as we get over the freeze, because then people are not gonna be able to put signs in until the freeze is, until thaw season anyways. So,
Yeah, and
Well,
it-
there's a permit for the new sign anyway on the door, I heard, so that's probably going in anyway. This isn't trying to.
that has
change
nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lori may have to put it in the newspaper, so she might not have to be able to warn it tomorrow, just so you know.
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
if it's the point where it goes in, I have to check.
I don't
it
know.
again. I know it
Let's
eventually goes in the newspaper.
It has to go to newspaper.
Let's get it to them, so they can be notified. Let's tentatively schedule the 10th of March. Right now, we, by email, can rediscuss if something has changed, or if Lori comes back with other information that may help us. But for the sake of setting a meeting,
Yeah.
let's make it March 10th.
Yeah, great.
All right, so wait, we're not done because,
I will check
I'm
with
gonna
Lori
jump.
and I'll let everyone know when I find out for sure.
I want to jump in real quick. Does anybody have any old businesses they want to discuss?
Can I just talk about the letter to the BCRC?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I missed that one.
So we went over this letter, I think, last week, right, the letter to the BCRC?
Yes.
Okay, it's right here. Do you think it would give it to you?
Yep.
Or we'll just send it to you?
Yes.
Okay. This is from the Conservation Commission, if everyone remembers, did you see Misty?
I did read this.
Yeah. I don't think I did get that.
Okay. And we just wanted to see if the Conservation Commission wanted to see if the Planning Commission wanted to also sign on to this letter.
I read it.
I'm good with it.
Make a motion, accept.
Okay, second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ollie?
Aye.
How's it feel? How's it feel?
I'm sorry,
Go ahead. Did you have a chance to read this?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Are you good?
Oh, what is, that's what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to
This
get,
is just a.
there's so much confusion going on here.
Yeah, the
That's, we're
confirmation.
gonna get to
last
that
week.
at the last.
Jesus.
I'm looking at church confirmation. It's a conservation committee. This is pretty much, you know, I did make my confirmation already, so. But, I mean, it's pretty, it's
Oh.
just piggyback, and it's,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, so I think that.
Aye.
All right.
So all, everyone was in favor.
The final
Got
eye.
something in there.
The scenic highway would give us straight protection actually on both sides of it.
So any old business?
Old business?
Old business, do we have any old business?
Is that what we've been doing?
Going to my solar project that I've been talking about. I'm doing a little bit here and there. The town notified, well, I notified them of my possible plans, possibly.
The town meeting.
They,
Notified the town.
Lord.
Okay,
town, she's the town, right?
well,
Anyways, my interest is what property they have. Do they have any property? Reason being is I have a person that, is a developer in the solar projects and stuff. So been talking to him about location and the size, and all these are really unclear at this point. But if I had, like I told Laura, I said, if I knew a place where we could go, or a possibility to get the developer to look at it, to see if it's possible, well, it's the old, she told me about the old,
Recycling dump,
the old dump.
Yeah, they can't use that.
10
That's our
acres.
brush dump. We're required to have that by law.
are you
I don't
on?
give a shit.
Hey, we dumped everything there.
How many-
But now it's our brush dump.
Oh,
How
is
many
it?
acres?
You've been covering it up?
It's 10.
It's not, I think it's down, I think someone bought two.
The golf course may be available, you never know, money talks.
Yeah, it's,
Well, they own a lot of other property in East Row.
yeah,
Who does?
The golf course.
yeah.
They do?
Yeah, all the way down
Anyways,
the
All those fields.
So anyways, I guess that ultimately a south-facing field, it would be perfect. You know, a large piece, 5 acres plus.
That would be an ideal spot down there because it doesn't affect the golf course and it's,
But
Really
the brush
nothing
dump,
there.
well, that was quick.
And I don't think they can build in, well, it's in Clarksburg.
I'm just here to help.
Put that right now.
yeah.
Shut that one right down. Anyways, but yeah, if anybody's got any ideas of a piece of property that somebody wants to donate to town, yeah, I had a pretty good idea.
What about?
There wouldn't be 5 acres of property usable for that anyway.
We got the river running through,
Mostly
right?
slope, yeah.
Well,
How about Keegan's gravel bed?
Tejan's gravel bed? I think
They're not using
I
it.
think they're fixing it
He's
right
got
now.
one on the other property, but I don't know what's going on down there.
There's a hose on.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking
The only other piece is if anybody knows where the Berard sand and gravel is.
Show Laura.
Joe Laura. I know Joe, I'm cutting his woodlot right now.
Why don't you ask him and see what he's gonna do with that piece? Because ultimately, the government wants you to utilize gravel pits, dump sites, and that's where you get, the good kickbacks.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to Joe.
Yeah,
And what about on top of the school building? We talked about that briefly.
they don't wanna do anything with the roof. I don't wanna do anything with the roof. The school department, when I brought the idea to the old school department, I was poo-pooed and basically thrown out of the meeting.
How big is
I mean,
it?
But that was back
It's gonna be a
when,
new board.
that's what the way they treated
Soccer
people.
field.
It's gonna be a whole new board pretty much.
Oh, it's a whole board, it's a different board now.
Starting March, will be even more in
More.
But I don't
He used to
wanna,
use it.
I don't wanna infringe on people's,
No kids?
view and sight-wise, and I don't
You
wanna.
can't see it. The only place you could see it would be like right just past
Yeah.
the school, they have straight shot back.
You're like Stanford.
Lawrence
It's
might
like
still
2 days
own
of
some
sun.
land across the river
Christopherini's probably would give up
from the
a
tennis.
lot of Christopherini that abuts that would probably sell off theirs to do that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big
Alright.
chunk of land.
So in other words, we're looking for people.
Oh, sorry.
Let's get into some new business.
Yeah, so new business, anybody?
He's got some new business.
So, I wanna talk about communication,
Yes.
with the board. So we had an incident where the last board meeting was canceled. Okay, that cannot happen again without communication from the board. And to be frank, either the chair or the vice chair should be the one making the call to Lori or the school to send out the letter, and it should be talked about throughout the board. One person shall never cancel this board meeting again, or I will have a
Who canceled it?
Sheila.
Sheila.
So,
She's sick, yeah, she got the key. Yeah, me and Aldi were here trying to get in.
I got a key now.
but
Right, Aldi?
nevertheless, we have our chair has a key in the code. All communication, please, if you have a conflict of interest and you'd like to bring it to everybody else on the board and say, hey, is there any way, I really don't wanna miss this meeting. Is there any way we can reschedule? Let's talk about it like grown adults, and let's just not go and cancel a meeting, because to me, that was upsetting.
I wasn't upset, was I?
I
was
just-
pissed.
How did you even find out it was canceled? Nobody even told me.
that's-
It immediately, it came,
Email.
it came an email from Lori.
So that's the second.
So
So I missed it.
So yeah, it went out in that
Too.
town, the town, I'm pretty sure she sent it to everybody, but I could be
Him and
wrong.
I were down here, and I was totally confused.
Nevertheless, I was just like.
No, that's a good point, Pete, and, yeah, if somebody can't make a meeting, we have a big quorum. What I do, if I can't make it, I contact Lisa, and,
I mean, I'm only not gonna be here unless I get stuck working or plowing, and I'm assuming that's like Dave and some other people, you may not be able to get off the mountain, either you haven't been able to get off the mountain. So, and the thing is like, I understand if somebody can't make it,
Not a problem.
and I'm all for a discussion about talking about it, but that's not ever gonna happen again, I just wanna make that.
How many do we need to have a quorum? 4?
Well, we've got 9,
we
3,
need 5.
7, 8, yeah, we
So
got,
we have the key situation taken care of now, Dan has keys.
However, I'm not really allowed to,
I'm gonna approach the select board
good
myself,
idea.
so that 2 of us have a key to be able to get in here. Now,
Right.
listen, on the off chance that both of us, like the last meeting, can't be here,
Right.
you know,
Maybe
well,
share it.
Well, and that was the last minute for me, and I apologize, there was enough.
If I
tried
lose
everything
a
I could.
key, or if he loses a key, that
It's on me.
$1,500.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So-
Yeah.
So a second suggestion I have is, especially hearing Dave, what Dave just said, while we were here, I would like,
Okay.
I will volunteer to get everyone's phone number and have, so when Lori contacts you or you can then let me know, and I can call everybody, because I don't always check my email.
I check it in the morning.
In the
I
morning.
check
Try
it
not to
right before the
all
meeting
day.
and,
Unfortunately.
yeah, so I'd rather be able to call everybody to let you know, hey.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if that's, but I didn't have everyone's phone number, I realized that.
Even if you got a group text, like a,
A group text even.
I don't know if everybody has.
I
text.
want nothing to do with the group text, please and thank you.
Yeah, right.
I
I don't mind calling.
I'm getting notified enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I received that email and that was good enough for me. If
I'm
you wanna call
old-fashioned. I will
somebody,
call,
please, by all means, call.
so if
I
everybody
just
can
don't want a text
just,
message.
Oh,
It's also,
group
I mean,
text you get.
as
Every
it-
time anybody answers you, ding, 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 ding.
I mute them all, I try to get out of them.
put
If people
your
have
phone
a,
number on this paper and I will call the teacher. It's right down anyway.
it's also,
the calls.
it's also, I think, useful just to have, as we've been doing, like the second Monday of the month, so that people have an
Right.
expectation already, that there's a kind of a usual, of course, there will be extraordinary circumstances, we have something, like it's an emergency to deal with, but that expectation.
And also the second issue was, we did try to meet earlier, and some people, Pete sent it out to all, and some people answered all, and I got it. And then some people just answered Pete, and that got confusing, so some people showed up for that meeting. So please be sure, unless you're having a private conversation with somebody, you just hit reply all.
Yeah, and I've done it. I'm guilty of not hitting reply all, and I've been a lot better with it, and I didn't even notice that it wasn't replied to not all. And I just looked at it and I was like, I'll just sit back and wait for other people to respond, and nobody did. And then she was like, some people sent it to them, and I went back and looked and I was like,
So we don't have a
Nope.
quorum. Yes,
So I was the
we do.
only one who got it,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was done maliciously.
So here's a suggestion, Pete, when you go to the board. If if they won't give the vice chair the key, ask them if you can sign the paper, same paper I did. And if,
we both are responsible.
well, no,
If you lose it.
if I contact you Sunday night and I'm like, I can't make it Monday,
I'm gonna assume
I give you the
responsibility
key
for the
and then,
Then I lose it and say I didn't get it from you.
I trust you.
Yeah, I don't think that there's gonna be an issue. I
There
really don't.
shouldn't
If
be.
there is, we'll worry about it then.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we gotta have more than
Yeah.
one person that has a key and,
Yeah.
you know, so that's all I have. I don't have anything.
Okay,
other than-
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,